So let us now see the Statement of Applicability (SOA) document. Very important. One of the first documents that the auditors will actually check after the scope basically gives them an understanding of the overall landscape of the controls in the organization, how the controls have been laid out, what all controls have been laid out. One question: can these be only 93 controls, or can these be more than that?
Can
Can
be
we add
more
more
than
controls? Okay. Why it would be more? What would be the scenarios, Kalpesh?
like based on the requirement. If they identify some new threat or some new treatment plan, and based on that, they might like apply or implement new controls.
What could be
Again,
those scenarios? Yeah. Think
I don't have answer for that.
this is the interview
But
question. No,
yes,
that's what
I'm thinking.
yeah, that's what I'm asking, because this is how they ask in the interview. What
Follow-up
what
question. This is a follow-up
Yeah,
question.
yeah. What would be those scenarios? Why would the controls exceed? Just provide me with some examples. This is how they ask in the interview. So we are actually covering interview questions side by side also.
Okay, how about this? Let's say, like they have this authentication in place, but
Okay.
they identified that maybe the two-factor authentication would be a better thing, which was not
Okay.
earlier as a part of plant, and they implement this. Would that be
Mhm.
a perfect scenario?
No, it's already one part of the controls.
But what if they don't have the 2F in place as a part of the control, and they identify later? Let's say this is old company which doesn't have
Mhm.
much, knowledge on the new type of technologies that is coming up with respect to protecting the identity, right?
Yeah,
And if
which
they
is
are
fine.
made aware of 2FA, and then
Which is fine.
let's say the management says, yeah, we weren't aware of this, and let's say, yeah, let's implement this. So maybe
Yeah,
that would be the scenario.
which is fine, but it's already a part of the access control category, right? Which is already there. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
What else?
So,
Yeah, go on, Rahul.
in any case, let's say there is a requirement, and after reviewing all the controls and seeing if any one or two of the 93 are comprehensible with the, let's say, problem statement here, the risk, and we cannot find it. So, do we? My question is, do we, let's say, make a control such that the solution can be the risk can be mitigated, or do we accept the risk or transfer it?
Yeah, that's what my question is basically. If we want to add on more controls, what would be those scenarios, right? That's what you're also asking.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
maybe if this is a sort of, we cannot add any more to this because it is a framework,
No, no, we
and
can add. We can definitely add.
okay.
But the question is, when do we need those controls?
Is it when the risk appetite is more than the, like, what you call the current requirement, and in order to implement a mitigation plan, then maybe the control is required. Again, I'm going back to the same
Or
answer
the
that I gave
risk
earlier.
risk is so critical that it must be mitigated or reduced, uh, and if a control is needed to if addition of a control is required to mitigate that risk, then it must be done, something like that, sir.
Yeah, but again,
Same thing,
that
right?
control. Yeah, but again, that control could be a part of the categories, right? 93 control categories are there,
No, no,
so it
but
could.
like I said, sir, after assessing all the 93,
Okay,
because for, let's say, there is a risk, and we issue a control to mitigate that risk.
from the 93.
Yes,
Okay,
from the 93, but those
okay.
93 are exhausted. There's
Mm-hmm.
no control left, and the risk has not been mitigated.
Okay,
But we need to mitigate that risk. Then we create a new control.
okay, okay. Fair enough. What else? But then you won't do that actually, Rahul. If you attended my last lecture, what did I say? When we already apply controls, we don't apply more controls.
Yes,
We
sir.
apply we apply what?
Love, can you please explain the question once again? I joined late.
Yeah. So the question is, can we add more controls to the statement of applicability than the 93 which are already there, right? That is the first question.
Okay.
So if the answer is yes, then what are those scenarios?
Okay.
Control on top of control, I won't agree, because we discussed in the last class that if
Control
control is
testing. Is
uh,
control testing done before applying that actual control?
No, sir, I
no.
wasn't actually
So,
talking about control on control. I was
Hmm.
saying if let's say there is a risk and we need a
so
control to mitigate that. But
And
uh,
that control is not there in the 93, right?
after after seeing all the 93 controls,
It is not there.
yeah, it is not there. All the
so
93 controls are exhausted. We haven't found a solution
Okay,
to
okay.
mitigate that risk. Only then we make a control of our own, and then
Yeah.
we implement that.
Yeah,
But
that is the question. What would be those scenarios, Rahul?
Okay,
so
okay.
again,
love
Yeah.
like love,
love
isn't it a
Hmm.
fact that there are only 93 controls?
Actually 94. One control added in last 2 months.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Love, is it when there's change of maybe regulation or laws or something?
Very good, Jason. Can you elaborate on that? Very good. This is the answer. Go on.
Yeah, I mean maybe when there's maybe like we say we have GDPR, maybe another law has come through, or maybe PCI DSS or another law, another regulations come through, then maybe you can add
Very
it to
good.
your controls.
Very good. Yes, this is the answer. So, whenever we have an organization, definitely there are different compliance requirements, right? Like Jason mentioned, there are different control requirements for GDPR, there are different control requirements for privacy, there are different controls requirements for PCI DSS regulations. So, if there is any regulation as such which wants you to apply certain controls, those would be extra controls than the 93 ones, and those will be laid out separately, and the justification would be like Jason mentioned, it would be additional requirement for a company to operate the business. Okay, but it would not be in all cases, it would be in certain companies and certain countries, right?
So it means that companies having some customer data, credit card, and all, and they
Yes.
have a insurance also. So
Yes.
there is we need to take care of the like GDPR controls as well as the PCI DSS control.
Yes, exactly. If the company is based out of Europe, definitely
Mhm.
both of them will be applicable. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, love, a follow-up
so
Yeah.
question on that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
can more than one control be applied in this scenario based on the new regulations implication part?
That's what we discussed in the last class, Kalpesh. When we try to lower down the risk, we apply control once, right? And what did we discuss when we said the residual risk is still not below the risk appetite? What would we do in that case? We discussed on that, right? It
love
would be, yeah, it would be compensating control in that case, not a direct control.
so love.
Okay.
One
Yeah,
question I
yeah,
want to clear.
yeah, yeah,
So as you told, control over control is not a good thing.
yeah.
But in some cases, suppose one control is dependent on other control. If the another control is not implemented, then the second control will not work.
Yes,
I'm just giving one example.
yes, yes, yes.
Suppose we are going to implement one load balancer behind the firewall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the TLS encryption part will be fine in F5 devices. I'm just in a technical point of view, I'm just telling. But if the application blade is not enabled in the firewall, then it
Mm-hmm.
could be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So the first control is application blade to be enabled in the firewall. Second is the load balancer, the TLS profile to be enabled.
So
So these are
is that,
two correlate. So I'm
yeah,
just in
I got
real
you.
scenario.
I got
Okay.
you. I got you, Asit. But is that a control over control or a control dependency?
It's a control level. It's a two-level control we are going to implement in a particular
But
business application, which is critical.
yeah, but if you see this problem statement, it looks like it's a control dependency, like you mentioned. It has to be at some level, right?
Yeah. So
So
control
it would,
dependency.
yeah, it would
Yeah.
call be, it would not be called control over control. That's what I'm saying. It would be called a control dependency, and definitely many controls would have dependencies, which is absolutely fine.
Okay. So okay.
Yeah,
Now I got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. So now we got the idea why SOA controls would exceed. What would be the scenarios? Okay, and now another follow-up question on SOA, because see, SOA is a very favorite topic of the interviewer. So definitely I'll put in some questions here for your understanding, right? Let's say there are four locations, and I want to open four offices in different four locations, and they're across the globe, like far apart. And I want to apply ISO 27001 to all the four locations. So in this case, will the SOA be different for all locations, or will it be same?
It will be different again based on the controls and specific regulations
Yeah,
based on.
90% would be same. 10% will be different depending on the regulatory compliance of the countries.
Okay, okay. How many say it will be same? Raise your hands. Mohammed
Yeah,
Ahmed is saying same.
No, but
because I was doing
if
that in my previous organization for India and Canada.
Okay, okay.
But that's what we discussed previously, Love, right? Like when we have new regulation implemented based on the country or the location, the new control is introduced, right?
Yeah, wait, Kalpesh, let them answer. No, this is how interview will ask. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Two hands. Any other
the
person who thinks that the SOA will be same? Okay, three people. Okay, why you think SOA will be same? Four people now. Rahul, why you think SOA will be same?
Sir, because majority controls would be same for almost every organization, like depending on their needs.
But how can you decide that? You don't know the organizational functions. It depends upon the processes which the organization has, right?
Yes, sir.
But how can it be same then? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Manish, how can it be same?
Yeah, it can be same because the scope and the nature of work which is being carried out from India and Canada is the same. We are catering to the same customer. We are releasing the same product. One component is being developed from India, one component is being developed from Canada. So the entire controls over the development, technology, people will be the same, except regulatory labor laws for different countries will kick in.
Okay, so that means SOA will be different, right? When you say about those laws, definitely they would have controls also, right?
Yeah, plus minus depending on the regulation, but the other clause will be same for the whole organization.
It won't be, because see, now you are imagining that each and every process is duplication, right? But does it really happen in a business? Do you have same processes?
Yes, we have the same processes.
Okay, normally what we have seen is either outsource or offshore is happening, where different organizations work on different things, right?
No, if you are having different organization, then the processes will change. But it is the same organization in two countries.
In four
So
locations, yeah.
yeah, in four locations. So
But
we are
are
expecting
you,
if it is a
yeah,
ISO
you are,
9001 2015 company, then same processes are being rolled out across all the four locations, right? That is why we go for standards and institutionalize the processes, right?
so your assumption is all the four locations will be working on exactly same things, right?
Yes, they are all delivering different components of the same product.
Okay, but it could be different, no? They could be having different functions altogether.
Yeah, uh, it could be,
yeah,
but this is how in my previous we were having the same. I was able to replicate the same processes across US, Canada, India, and
Even,
Brazil.
yeah,
so
even if they would not be the same, then also the definitely law of the land will be different, right?
Right, law of land, I agree that we will change because labor laws will be different, regulations will be different, compliance will be different.
Right, right, right. So
So
SOI will
so
be different. Yeah.
so love, the
Yeah.
base process to be same, might be the sub process to be changed according to the local regulatory of the country. But the
See,
base, because it's a single company, they have multiple branch office in different country, but the company's main process and policy that needs to be added by the other branch offices. Might be the country's local laws and regulatories might be different, and because of that, the control would be different. But the basic needs, basic controls to be implemented across all the branch offices. In that point, we can consider it should be same.
yeah, Shahid, go on.
Love, there is a new regulation coming up in US like S-bomb, and
Okay.
how that S-bomb will integrate into ISMS system.
It's maybe send me on chat. I'm hiring you for the first time.
It is something like, when there are
Mm-hmm.
large software companies are using, so they are integrating some free software, some open source text and codes inside the software. So in that case, what happen is the map, the vulnerability patching is bit difficult,
Okay.
because those portion of a software does not have a proper patch, because those are the open source. So in that case, this US coming with the regulation called SBOM, that will, when you sell a software, you will have clearly define what are components inside the software, and then the people who are using it, they will be able to understand how to patch that and what need to do in such portion of a software. So this soon they will launch it. So that's why I'm thinking how we can be integrated into the ISMS system.
It would be. I think it would be part of the software development controls, right?
Okay, I'm
Because
not
because
sure.
because anyhow, you are actually talking about the software coding and all, right?
Yeah, so like Infosys and all, there are many company who do they integrate some of the freeware or some of open source portion into the large software
They
where
do. They do.
you
They
will
do.
yeah.
They
So
do.
what happen is you can patch which is developed by you, and you can patch which is legitimate, coming from a legitimate source. But those portion of the software is not able to patch because there is nobody is accountable for it, and because of
For the public ones, right?
yeah, correct. And because of this reason, this SBOM kind of like we buy a server, we know how many RAM, hard disk, processor, we know in and out about that software, what is the BOQ of that hardware.
Right.
Similarly, it is coming for software as well. So, what inside the software you are putting it, you need to, give the
Is there
BOQ of
something called software bill of materials,
correct
SBOM?
SBOM. Let's call it SBOM. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it's more or less related with the software only. So definitely some controls around software development, right? But I look on that. What all controls will be applicable? Yeah.
Yeah, it is new, but
Yeah.
yeah, but it is important.
Definitely. Definitely. Again, add-on controls will be needed, right? Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, correct, correct.
Right. 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 So coming back to your questions, Asit. Basically, Asit, whenever there is a change in the geographical area, there is a change in regulations, right? So every regulation will try to impose some controls, right? They need to follow you the control. They need to make sure that the company abides by those controls. So in whenever there is a change of land, definitely the SOA will be different. It would not be the case that the same SOA will be applicable in India, London, and England and all. It would not be the case. It would be different everywhere. Okay. So as many locations as a company would have, different SOAs will be there. The scope can be a single document, but SOA would be multiple. Keep this in mind.
Okay, love.
Okay.
So that's why when I was working for AT&T for a long period. So I have seen so many HR document that was uh, in a different mode. I mean, in a different version. Some Philippines, some India, some Bolivia. So there is some HR document, but the base HR document is same for all countries.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
some policies can also be common, some documents can be common, but overall,
Yeah.
when you talk about the set of controls, definitely there will be a change.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Because of the local regulatory and legal compliance.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Just have a doubt.
Yeah.
So what all clauses, controls under which clauses will be different in the SOA? Like right now we have highlighted or shown like 5.1 policy for information security. That can be same or different. Like which all clauses will be different for the
Yeah.
diff-
Vinesh, that would be basically, see, these 93 controls anyhow you have to follow, right? Because it's part of the standard. You can't edit them or you can't skip them. The additional controls will be like we discussed in the beginning, right? They will be basically on the regulation. What GDPR wants to add, what PCI DSS wants to add, what are the privacy controls you want to add. Those are already not there, right? 93 controls doesn't have any privacy controls. Only one or two controls are there. But if you go for GDPR, there are definitely many controls you need to apply. You need to add those controls. Are you getting it?
93 controls are from belong to GDPR, right?
93 from ISO 27001.
Okay, ISO. Okay.
Yeah, GDPR controls will be different. PCI controls will be different. That's what I'm saying.
GDPR does not have any control as in direct control, but
Not
GDPR have
direct,
a law.
privacy related. Privacy related.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it had law, and then you need
yeah.
to decide. You need to make the control against that
Yes,
law or
yes,
article.
yes, yes. For privacy protection, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Good, 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 good.
Love,
Go on, Sati.
how we differentiate between security controls and privacy controls?
Very good question. So privacy controls will be different altogether. Maybe in the last two classes I'll show you how privacy controls will look like. Okay, they'll be different because that's why you have a different standard altogether called PIMS, right? It all talks about privacy controls. There are different controls altogether for privacy.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We'll
And
discuss that.
love, one more
Yeah.
follow-up question on that. And are these controls like the privacy and the security, are they associated with software or hardware? Are they specific to anything, or are they like independent and they can be applied to like across any domain?
They're basically related with information, Kalpesh. Like if the information is related with privacy information, like you're dealing with some personal users' identity, you're dealing with their addresses, phone numbers, and all. Definitely,
Financial
they,
data, let's
yeah,
say financial
financial data also, and any personal data related to an individual, they will kick in.
data. Okay.
Yeah,
So this is both security and privacy,
yeah,
both
both will
both.
kick in. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
both will kick in. Yeah, type of information the organization is dealing with, that should be your focus. Okay,
Okay.
good. So in this exercise, I want you guys to basically have 10 exclusions and 10 inclusions. Okay. Now we'll see some inclusions and exclusions first. Okay. And then we'll add. Okay. So classification of information is an inclusion. Okay. Applicability is yes. It is essential to ensure sensitive data is categorized according to its level of confidentiality and protection. Description is data is classified into different classification categories. Document is classification policy.
Where is
Document.
written as inclusion?
Uh,
Love, sir, I have
see,
one more question, sir.
yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
forgot to
yeah,
ask. One more question I
yeah,
have.
yeah,
Over
yeah.
here, you have defined the controls in organization control, people control, technology control. But sometimes we see internal control, external control, detective control, deterrent control. What is that control and what is this control?
Very good question, Manish. Those are the types of controls. What are the types of control? For example, if I talk about a CCTV camera, what do you think? What type of control is a CCTV?
It is
Security
a
control.
preventive control.
No, no, no. In
Detective
terms of the
control.
types,
Detective, deterrent.
access.
no. Deterrent,
Detective.
deterrent,
Deterrent.
deterrent, and what else?
Detective,
Detective.
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 Yes, detective, and what else?
deterrent,
Deterrent, and what else?
Monitoring controls.
Monitoring.
preventive,
External,
Yes. What else?
external.
preventive.
External, yes. What else?
Preventive,
Preventive, yes. What else? So all these
physical control.
yeah. So all this what we are discussing right now, these are the control categories. Okay, these are not controls. Try to understand that. Okay, Manish, these are control categories. You are basically giving categorization to the controls. There are different categories out there, right? These are not
Yeah.
controls. These are not controls. These are called control categories.
No, I'm my yeah. My question is why the control is not divided as per this organization control,
You can
people
do that.
control, technology,
You can do that if
and
you want to.
why sometimes they are doing internal control, external control. Why those two are not coinciding or means merging here?
See, that's what I'm saying, Manish. Controls you can categorize into n number of ways. You can do it in 100 types of things. It's not something you can't do, right? As an organization, you
Okay.
can divide controls into different types what you want. Now, what is statement of applicability as per ISO 27001? The document states that it needs to have all the controls which are applicable to the company, which includes 93 controls which ISO provides and any other controls that the company has implemented. It's as simple as that. It doesn't differentiates more than that.
Okay, so you can introduce your own controls and also add it to the SOA.
But what would be those scenarios then? Tell me.
No, I'm just asking, depending on
Yeah,
the scope of
depending
the
upon.
company, are
But
we fixed that we have these 93 controls, or we can introduce our own company specific controls?
what would be those scenarios? That's what I want to understand, right? If there is a
Yeah.
scenario, if there's a requirement from a business standpoint, definitely yes.
Okay.
But then you should
So
be able to justify it, right?
justify it. Yes, if we are
Because
able to
because yes,
justify it.
because the auditor would also ask you why you have included it, right? Why are you not able to find it in the 93 categories? Because to be honest, the 93 categories are very vast. If you see the categories, it's not only one control, it's a control which has actually a lot of meanings.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so
It covers five sectors, five different
yeah,
departments.
that's what, right? You're talking about confidentiality, integrity, availability, non-repudiation. Every control basically touches on all of those aspects. So even after those 93 controls, if somebody is implementing, let's say, five more, definitely there'll be questions, right? Why you need that?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to be justifiable on that. If you are able to justify,
Okay.
then you are good. But
Yeah.
but
Got it.
but whatever controls are there in the organization, that what should be there in the SOA. That is what they want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So now, when we say applicability is yes, that means we have included the control. When we say the applicability is no, that means this control is not included. It is excluded. Are we clear? And we'll
Yes.
see. Yeah, we'll see both the cases when there's yes and no. So this is how you start. And when this is included, you need to write the justification for inclusion. If it is excluded, you need to write the exclusion justification. Both of the time you need to write the reason why you are doing that, right? And after that the description, after that the document, what is the document name, after that the owner name, and after that the implementation status, whether it is implemented or not. Definitely if it is not applicable, it will not be implemented. And comments in the section regarding the exclusion. This is how it is done. Okay. And if it is yes, then how it is implemented. Each and everything needs to be mentioned here. Okay.
So, love, when you give us the exercise, what data is given to us? Like the applicability, and then we have to define the rest of, or like we have to define
No,
everything.
I leave. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I leave both of them to you. I want 10 applicable controls and 10 non-applicable. Like I want you to
Okay,
exclude
okay.
10, and I want you to include 10. That's what I'm saying.
And we can identify from the entire list which we want to include and which we want to exclude based
Yeah,
on our case.
exactly,
Case.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. For example, this is the exercise sheet. Here I have given you all the 93 controls for all the four rooms, and you can accordingly identify which alls you need and which all you want to exclude, right?
You have to go through all the 94. Okay.
Yeah, but some of the controls you would not be able to exclude. I can give you examples for that also. Like policies for information security, you won't be able to exclude it because it is a part of the what?
part of
Hi, Sumit.
compliance.
ISO.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
So
it's a part of the clauses.
ISMS policy.
Yes, it's a part of the clauses. Yes, you won't be able to exclude it. This one, will you able to exclude? No, it is also a part of the clause. This one also part of the clause. This one also part of the clause. So you need to be mindful, okay, which controls you are excluding and which ones you are including. Some controls you have to include. There is no way around that. Okay.
So where I can see, we can see the clauses and all.
It's right
So
there. Five, number five organization.
Okay,
these are all the controls, right? Written.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Love sir, I think you have deleted the clauses control from our WhatsApp group, na?
Uh,
I was trying to find out lot, sir, going through all the messages. I think you have deleted it.
which one?
The one which has the ISO 27001 clauses, ISO clauses.
Clauses. I
You
don't
mean the
get.
sheet, the PDF file?
I think lead
PDF
audit
file which you
auditor.
have, na,
Yes.
means the ISO guidelines,
A standard. I think.
standard
Oh, standard you
guidelines.
want? Yeah, yeah.
The
Standard I
37,
can give you again. Yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah,
37
yeah. I thought
pages.
you deleted it. I was searching
No,
a
no,
lot,
no.
sir.
It's there on the what's. I'll send you again. Not an issue.
It should be there in the
Yeah.
media. If you go in the media
It is
section,
in the
you will find
media.
it.
Yeah, yeah. It is there. Okay. So are we good to go, guys? Any questions before you go? This time I want this to be proper, and no festive lags and all. Okay. Good. So I'm dividing you
Yes, sir.
into the groups now.
I love.
Yeah, yeah.
I know there's a list of all control names and stuff, but some of the controls, it doesn't really have much explanation to them.
They do.
So
If you see the they do. If you see the standard has the explanation also. But for now, we are just going with the headings because we do have some sort of understanding, right?
so 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 are we doing only this clause 5?
No, no, we have to do entire. It's this thing, right? It's 93.
Are we going for 193 controls
Yeah, we
just
got
now?
93. Yeah, we got 93 controls now. We need to understand 10 we need to include, 10 we need to exclude. And whatever we need to include, we need to write the reason for its inclusion. And whatever we exclude, we need to write the reason for exclusion. Okay?
Okay.
Once you will do it, it will be more clear. Don't worry.
So we're only doing 20 of them, 10 inclusive, 10 exclusive. Is that what
Yeah,
you
10
mean?
inclusive. Yeah, 10 inclusive, 10 exclusive, right?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I'm opening the rooms now.